So tonight, I'd like to read from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 33. Sadrisham cheshtate svasya. I'll wait for you. Sorry. 333. Anyone?
333.
You got it, Jimo? Well. That's the one page that's not there? 333.
199.
333.
333.
Okay.
All right.
Text 33, right?
Yes. Okay. Sadrisham chestate swasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karashyati Sadrisham chestate svasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati Sadrisham chestate svasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati
Sadrisham cheshtate swasya.
Sadrisham chestate svasya
Prakriter jnanavanapi.
prakriter jnanavanapi
Yanti bhutani.
prakritim yanti bhutani
Nigraha king karishyati.
nigraha kim karishyati Sadrisham chestate svasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati Sadrisham chestate svasya prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Translation. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 7:14. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge, or by separating the soul from the body. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature, which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So usually when Maharaj asked me to speak, I would never speak on a subject like prescribed duties. But at our Gita Jayanti festival, Maharaj very expertly had us read the entire Bhagavad Gita in English together. And when we read the Bhagavad Gita in this way, it reminded me how much Krishna talks about prescribed duties in Bhagavad Gita. As a young brahmachari studying Bhagavad Gita in 1973, we studied every verse in Bhagavad Gita. At that time, standard for those living in the temple, brahmacharis, standard was celibate scholar. So we didn't just sit around, but we studied very intensely Srila Prabhupada's books. So at that time, we could say the summation of Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. Krishna says this verse twice in Bhagavad Gita, 934 and 1865. And this, we could say, is the whole conclusion of Krishna consciousness. Always think of me, become my devotee. Offer obeisances unto me, and surely you will come to me without fail. So we could say this is the essence of Krishna consciousness. So we're very much focused in on that essence. And at that time, I thought, well, I'm a very advanced devotee. So, as many neophytes think. So we've gone beyond duties. We've gone beyond duties. But actually, our situation within the material world requires that we still act according to duties. The impersonalist, they may say that everything in the material world is illusion. So in this way, they postulate that renunciation means to give up all forms, all activity, everything in all relationships, everything within the material world. But this is not the true nature of the spiritual being. This is not the true nature. As Prabhupada liked to point out, that a painting cannot be more than the creator of the painting, cannot be more than the artist. So Prabhupada would ask, well, if I can have relationships, if I can have so many children, why that God cannot have relationships? So the ultimate definition of the Supreme is Janmad Yasya Yataha, that from which everything else emanates. So Krishna cannot be less than his creation. Sometimes Prabhupada would chastise impersonalists, that you say that God has no eyes, you say that God has no face, God has no friends, God has no family. So in this way, the impersonalists, they try to make Maya greater than Krishna. And that is why the Vaishnavas, we give them a name. That name is a derogatory name, Mayavadi. those who are actually saying that Maya is supreme. So, so Krishna is a person, but not a person like us. Here, our bodies, our minds are limited, they're temporary, filled with, we all have 4 inherent defects. We are, make mistakes, our senses are imperfect, we have a cheating propensity, and we are an illusion. So these are the 4 inherent defects of all conditioned souls. So Krishna is a person, but Krishna is not a person like us. Krishna is an unlimited person. So Krishna is described in Brahma Samhita, Navayovanam cha, that Krishna is eternally youthful. His body is never affected by the change of time here within the material world. So Krishna, his body and senses are eternal, and in liberated condition, also we realize that we have an eternal body with eternal senses that also are made to serve Krishna. So we could say that this is the definition of bhakti. Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevanam, Bhaktir Uchyate. So this is a verse we quote from Narada Muni, that the definition of bhakti, Bhaktir Uchyate, is to serve the master of the senses with the senses. So that is what we're doing in Bhakti Yoga. We are performing all different activities of the senses, but all in relationship to Krishna. All in relationship to Krishna. So the Mayavadis, they reject this. They say that through the senses, you can never obtain spiritual realization. So Prabhupada says, this is like a man who has gotten a counterfeit $100 bill. He concludes that all money is counterfeit by getting the one counterfeit bill. So because our own mind and senses are imperfect, we're making mistakes, we're in illusion, we have a cheating propensity, we believe that everything in relationship to the senses is the same. So the Mayavad therefore advises that everything is illusion. Everything is illusion. Prabhupada once said, they say that everything is illusion except the nonsense they're speaking. So nothing means anything except what they say. It's Prabhupada's criticism. So the spirit soul is eternally a person. Just as Krishna is a person, we are a tiny person. We're different than Krishna in quantity, but not in quality. The example is given that we are like one drop of ocean water, and Krishna is like the entire ocean. So if you microscopically analyze one drop of ocean water, you'll find out that it is the same amount of salt as the entire ocean, and it's the same chemical substance as the entire ocean. So one drop of water is the same in quality as the entire ocean. So we are conscious. Krishna is conscious. But we are conscious like one little drop. And that consciousness is limited to this one body. Right now, if Nityananda's foot is hurting him, I don't know. I only know that my knee is hurting. That's the only thing I can know. So our consciousness is limited, just as the one drop of ocean water is different than the entire ocean. But Krishna's consciousness is unlimited. Krishna's consciousness is all-pervading in all times and places. Even in the material world, Krishna is everywhere. So Krishna is in every atom and between every atom. And Krishna also travels in the heart of the living entity. Throughout the living entity's sojourn here within the material world. So Prabhupada said the example given in the Upanishads is two birds and a tree. So we are the enjoying bird. And we are only thinking about, I have to eat something, I have to do something. We're absorbed in trying to enjoy here within the material world. And Krishna is the witnessing bird. Krishna has no part within the material world. But Krishna stays with us as our closest friend through all change of bodies, birth and death, transmigration, throughout millions and millions of lifetimes here within the material world. And Krishna in the heart is waiting for us to turn to him. We come to the material world to try to forget Krishna. Why do we want to forget Krishna? Because we want to be Krishna. So a little difficult to compete with Krishna. So we have to go someplace where we can forget Krishna. And that is here within this material world. The material world is 1/4 energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the spiritual world, or Vaikuntha, is 3/4 of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this place is maintained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead because love is voluntary. So there's no meaning to love. If you have to love me, then you're like a robot. You know, you can program. Now we have AI. So now they're making some fabulous media reports. Someone, married their AI companion already, And so we can make a robot, but we cannot say that this is love. So in order to love, we have to have the choice not to love. So the material world is that choice that we can make. So when we begin to come to Krishna consciousness, we do not renounce the senses, so to speak. Narad Muni gives a further analogy. He says that just like if one has a thorn embedded in their skin, they can take another thorn and remove the thorn embedded in the skin. So this material body is like that. The human form of life is a special opportunity for us to come to the level of spiritual realization by using this lifetime, by using this mind and senses to come to the level of self-realization. So in this analogy, the thorn is all our material attachments, all our material illusion, all our material conditioning. That I am American, I am Indian, I am woman, I am old, I am young. We believe this. So this is our conditioned situation here within the material world. That is why on our own we don't just come to Krishna, because we are conditioned. And we like that conditioning. So just as the mind and senses are the cause of pain, it's just like the thorn is a cause of pain, this body and mind can be the source of liberation, the source of transcending entirely this material world by using the same body and mind in the service of Krishna. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhaktir Uchite. So everything that someone is doing in the material world, we are doing in relationship to Krishna. So as everyone here saw earlier, we have music. So music is a big attachment people have in the material world, but we have music for Krishna. People want to dress very beautifully. So we dress Nimai Nitai very beautifully. And as the servants of Nimai Nitai, we must also dress beautifully as the servant of Krishna. Just that we worship the deity like a king. So just like the king's courtiers, his personal servants, the king is dressed beautifully, like Nimai Nitai, with a beautiful, gorgeous turban and jewelry. So same way, the servants of Krishna in the spiritual world, they're also, bodies are very beautiful, dressed very beautifully in order to serve Krishna. So we create art for Krishna. This is one of the first things Prabhupada did. When he had disciples, he was printing Back to Godhead magazine. So Prabhupada wanted devotional art for Back to Godhead magazine, devotional art for Prabhupada's books. So when I joined in Brooklyn in 1973, all the artists were in Brooklyn. We had Jadharani, we had Muralidhar, we had all the most famous artists in the history of ISKCON. And they were completely dedicated to painting to represent all Krishna's pastimes in the Krishna book, in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada would approve each painting personally. So, because Prabhupada was a completely self-realized soul. Although Prabhupada was appearing in Brooklyn, Prabhupada was never in Brooklyn. Prabhupada was always in the spiritual world. So Prabhupada, by direct realization, could direct the artists exactly how Krishna's garland was, Krishna's earrings, so many things. So art we also use for Krishna. And of course cooking. We cook for Krishna. And for those of us who are very argumentative, we also argue for Krishna. And Prabhupada was our leader in arguing for Krishna. Prabhupada once said that I have traveled around the world 14 times, and I have never been defeated. So Prabhupada would challenge archbishops. Prabhupada would challenge big professors, all kinds of leading persons, intellectuals. Srila Prabhupada would personally challenge. And this is in our line of disciplic succession. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was, Prabhupada's spiritual master, was known as such a ferocious debater on behalf of Bhagavad Gita and the Vaishnava conclusion that people throughout India were afraid to appear in public to debate him. So some impersonalists were having a big symposium. Different leading pundits would speak. So somehow or another they invited Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So when they thought that we were going to invite this famous Vaishnava devotee, spiritual master, he'll refuse because we are impersonalists. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati accepted. So then they felt shock. Then they sent a message. Okay, we'll allow you to speak, but only if you do not speak on Bhagavad Gita. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati sent back the message. Agreed. Now they became more alarmed. They sent back another message. We'll allow you to speak, but only if you do not speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta sent back a message. Agreed. Then they became even more alarmed, wondering, what are the Shastras he's going to use to defeat us? You cannot speak on the Mahabharata, you cannot speak on Ramayana, you cannot speak on the Puranas, and you cannot speak on the Upanishads. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati sent back the message. Agreed. Then they become really panicked. Then they sent back the message. Don't come. You are not invited. So this is our tradition, that we are ready to defend Krishna. To defend Krishna. So, why does Krishna speak so much about prescribed duty in Bhagavad Gita? Because we are all trapped in a conflicting, painful situation within the material world. Just like Arjuna. So Arjuna's predicament was very intense. On one hand, he had to act as a Kshatriya. So in other purports on this subject, Srila Prabhupada points out that sometimes a Kshatriya must do violence. So Kshatriya means to protect. So it means that if some man came here, wanted to harm Maharaj, I will have to defend Maharaj. So this is the meaning of Kshatriya, is actually to protect the innocent, to protect the weak from those who would harm them. That's the real meaning of Kshatriya. So sometimes Kshatriya may have to kill. So Arjuna was in this situation, that he had to defend his brothers, his mother, so many great devotees in this fratricidal war at the Battle of Kurukshetra. So when he rode out to the battlefield, he lost his nerve because he realized that if I win, I'll have to kill my close family members, my cousin brothers, the Kurus. So he didn't know what to do. He was overwhelmed. But we are all captured in this kind of strife here within the material world. Samsara dava nalalita loka, tranaya karunya ganatvam. The material world is like a forest fire. Prabhupada said, no one wants a forest fire. But forest fires are coming naturally. Prabhupada says that in India, the bamboo is moved by the wind in the dry season and friction and ignites a fire. So no one wants a forest fire, but still forest fires are coming. So this is our situation here within the material world. We may think that I have a great career, my children are so intelligent, my wife is so wonderful, but then we have to get old, we have to get diseased, we have to die. So this suffering, due to the temporary nature of the material world, we're all trapped in this suffering condition. So, in order to get out, Krishna is recommending that we have to follow our prescribed duties. Prescribed duties. So the varnashram system, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. So there are 4 occupational orders: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And there are 4 stages of life: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So this information, of course, Krishna is giving because the Bhagavad Gita is spoken at the end of Dwapara Yuga. So at that time, Varnashram was still intact. Still intact. So Krishna is explaining, what is the duty of the Brahmana? The Brahmin is nonviolent. What is the duty of the Kshatriya? But our situation, Kalo Sudra Sambhava, now that Kali Yuga has advanced 5,000 years, everyone is Sudra or worse, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. So how do we know? So this varnashram is material duty and spiritual duty. So how do we know what is our material duty? So here, Krishna says, even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes. So in Kali Yuga, we do not have varnashram, although we may think that our grandfather was a Brahmana or our father was a Brahmin. In reality, they are not up to the standard of Brahman according to the Vedic literature. So we have to do work according to our material nature. So Srila Prabhupada explains that even if somebody can only work, so labor is the lowest level in varnashram, even if someone can only work in a factory, Srila Prabhupada says, in purports in Bhagavad Gita, if he gives the money to Krishna, then he is completely renounced. He's completely acting on the spiritual level. In the same way, if someone has a business, we cannot tell them artificially that you have to give up your business, that you have to give up your job. People have to act according to their own nature. They have to take care of their families. And the most basic institution is vivaha jagya, or marriage. So especially in Kali Yuga, actually in Kali Yuga sannyas is forbidden, Maharaj. So the reason is because in Kali Yuga people are weak, people are unintelligent, people cannot perform austerities, people are living a very short period of time. So to completely renounce everything in the material world is very difficult. On the other hand, marriage, saintly family life, which we call grihastha ashram, that is recommended for the majority of persons in Kali Yuga, because attraction between men and women is the main driving force, our attachment to the material world. So Krishna makes an arrangement that we should regulate it. So in the West, you turn on some popular music and every song is, baby, baby, I need you. Baby, baby, I can't live without you. So people are hankering, where's this woman, where's that woman? And the other half of the songs are, baby, baby, you broke my heart, you left me. So this is, Western life is like animal life. I like this one, then after a while I like this one, then So marriage means that we are regulating or controlling this basic attachment within the material world. When Srila Prabhupada very first got some of his disciples married, the disciples asked Prabhupada, but what if we don't get along later? Can we get divorced? Srila Prabhupada answered, in Sanskrit, there's no such word as divorce. So, of course, this is, in the West, this can still be difficult. You read sometimes some advice column. I'm on my third marriage, my husband's on his second marriage, and we're having this problem or that problem. So still people having a difficult time. But if we accept this grihastha life as an ashram, then that is the regulating principle. So household life, we say grihastha ashram. Ashram means everyone in the ashram is advancing in spiritual life. So that's what brahmacharya ashram means. Grihastha ashram means that you have children. You have to make arrangement for them to advance in spiritual life. Just like here, we have now Sunday school. So householders can come. The children are right underneath us right now. And so this is the some regulating principle. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that we should not give up penance, austerity, and sacrifice under any conditions, because they are meant for the purification of us and also everyone in human society. So, but we do everything in relationship to Krishna. Now, when we become self-realized, then we go beyond all kinds of duties and all kinds of rules and regulations. But this is for those who are very advanced in Krishna consciousness. Your son asked me the other day, do you think anybody will, Prabhupada gave us the standard as disciples to chant 16 rounds a day. So he asked, you think in the future someone will come and they'll make it like less rounds? So I answered, if we ever see a devotee advance like Srila Prabhupada, who, although living with us, was 100% in the spiritual world, then maybe we could consider something like this. But as I said many times, when I was a brahmachari, some of my closest associates were Prabhupada's servants, Prabhupada's editors, traveling with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada took rest at 10 p.m. and got up at midnight. Then Prabhupada would begin translating his books. Then Prabhupada would chant 64 rounds. Then at 6 a.m. Prabhupada would go on a 1-hour morning walk. Then at 7 a.m. Prabhupada would come to the temple, offer obeisances to the deities, full dandavats, and then give the Bhagavatam class. Then Prabhupada would have breakfast prasadam and open for business, start managing the society. Prabhupada took a nap after lunch, not more than 1 hour. So anyone here, come to our ashram, show us this kind of standard of your sense control, and that you have completely transcended the body and mind, even eating and sleeping. Then maybe we can listen to you if you want to make some kind of change to Srila Prabhupada's standards. We shouldn't think that Prabhupada was trying not to sleep. Prabhupada mentions the 6 Goswamis, that the 6 Goswamis, they barely ate like a palm full of rice a day. They also did not sleep. Why? Because they felt ecstatic love for Krishna. Ecstatic love for Krishna. So Prabhupada, although at a very advanced age, Prabhupada came to New York at pretty much my age. And when I met Srila Prabhupada, I was 18. Prabhupada was exactly 60 years older than me. But Prabhupada was 10 times more alive than me. I was speaking with our godbrother Satyaraj at Rathayatra this year. I said that. I said, Prabhupada was 10 times more alive than me. I said, and at least 100 times more intelligent. Satyaraj became very angry with me. He said, oh, you're praising yourself? That Prabhupada was only 100 times more intelligent than you? You're very upset with me. He said, Prabhupada was 1,000 times more intelligent than you. And this is true. So first show us that you are an acharya, then might begin to take you seriously. Srila Prabhupada came to New York with nothing, virtually nothing. 40 rupees?
That's $6-7.
And today we have at least 800 temples worldwide. So this is the extraordinary. Nobody can show us somebody like this. This person does not exist. So that is the meaning of pure devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada came to New York because it was the order of his spiritual master to preach Krishna consciousness in the West to English-speaking people. Prabhupada said, I don't know what the result will be. I'm following my spiritual master blindly. So this level of faith in his own spiritual master, that Prabhupada gave up everything and came alone, face incredible austerity, and the whole time knowing and planning a worldwide movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is something absolutely incredible. So duty is for those of us who are caught in, we're perplexed here within this material world. We may wonder, do I keep this job? Do I keep this business? Do I keep this marriage? Do I, so all these things, we have to take information from the Vaishnavas, from the advanced Vaishnavas. That's the purpose of our temple here, is so we can all get association of devotees in order to understand what is our material duty and what is our spiritual duty. So prescribed duty, that's for the man in struggle here within the material world. And so we get the answer from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We get from our spiritual master. We get from the sadhus, from the advanced Vaishnavas. So we're so fortunate we have here Chandrasekhar Swami, who's a senior Prabhupada disciple and sannyasi, and also Shastra. We have to study Srila Prabhupada's books. 1974, the temple president went to the Mayapur festival, and he left in charge of the temple Harikesh. So Harikesh and I used to study together. So he called me into, sitting behind the temple president's desk, he called me into the office. He said, "Why do you do what I say?" I said, "Because you're very advanced devotee." He said, "No!" He said, "You have to study Prabhupada's books. If what I say is what's in Prabhupada's books, then you must do what I say. And if what I say is not in Prabhupada's books, then you cannot do what I say." So Shastra's there. We have to become scholars of Srila Prabhupada's books. So in these three ways, we'll understand what our duty is in this life. So I'd like to end there and open the discussion. Any questions? Any opposing scholars?
Hare Krishna. So in the scripture we have an instance of one person changing varna. We have the story with Vishwamitra Muni and Vashishta Muni, Vishwamitra Muni and Vashisht Maharaj. Vashisht Maharaj was a king, Vishwamitra was a brahmana. So they had some kind of battle, and Vishwamitra displayed his superior power as a brahmana. And then Vashisht said, well, you know, brahmanas are powerful. So he went off and he took austerities and became a empowered brahmana. And then he said, if Vishwamitra doesn't accept me as a brahmana, you know, something, I can't remember, the fight would continue or something. So then Vishwamitra had to accept that, yes, you are a qualified brahmana. So this verse, someone might say, it's counterintuitive to this knowledge that if one is in a certain category, you know, the three modes, and if we're telling them, okay, you're in this mode, stay in this mode, right, and work in this mode, then we're not encouraging them to get out of that mode and go to a higher mode. So how is it that by staying in the mode that you're born in, you can make advancement?
So until we are on the level of spiritual realization, we should accept, as Prabhupada said in the purport, work according to the modes of nature. So Srila Prabhupada answers your exact question in the purport to chapter 3, text 35. So I'm skipping now towards the end. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmana. I'll go back one sentence. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness. He can perform anything and everything under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmana, or a Brahmana may act as a Kshatriya. In the transcendental stage, the distinctions of the material world do not apply. For example, Viswamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahmana, whereas Parshuram was a Brahmana, but later on acted as a Kshatriya. Being transcendently situated, they could do so. But as long as one is on the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. At the same time, he must have a full sense of Krishna consciousness. So, we have our scholar here visiting. It makes an excellent point. Prabhupada, however, anticipating your excellent point, covered this matter 2 purports after the one we read. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So I have one question. Like when we are dealing with some outcomes, one is the random and one is the fixed outcome, right? So we are completely unknown about this random outcome, and that's why we are investing all this money in the education, all its structures, everything, and then they are always researching that what can be this random character, how this pattern looks like, right? Thinking about this future. And in sense of Bhagavad Gita, how we can think with the instruction of Krishna's, how can we figure out that randomness?
So this is an excellent question. And this is
Knowing to his occupation.
this is this is a question.
Professor of mathematics for economic development.
So this is a question of a highly intelligent man who can calculate the probabilities, the possibilities, that what is in favor, what is against, time, character, the individuals. So, and he's trying to make an equation. X plus Y equals Z. And in this way, he will conquer the unknowns of material life. So Krishna, all the verses practically where Krishna talks about one's duty, Krishna says over and over, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the results of action. Krishna says over and over, one who is not attached to the results of action is acting in Krishna consciousness. Now, the need to calculate leads me to believe you're very attached to the answer to this equation. So Krishna also says that if we are attached to the results of action, we must take birth again within the material world. So this is the equation that we should actually be thinking about. Because we want to build a rocket that will fly, we have to get the calculation correct, and we have to try over and over and over until we can make it happen. So this is attachment to the results of action here within the material world. We use a term which is derogative towards materialists. We call them karmis. So this means somebody who their whole consciousness is focused on the results of action. That is all they want, is the result. They don't care how they get there. So in the West we say the ends justifies the means. So this is a materialistic or animalistic equation. The end justifies the means. But in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is telling us, you may live or you may die in this battle, but your duty is to fight. This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. So this is our situation here within the material world. We must act to maintain this body, to care for our family, to do our duty as a father, as a husband. We must act. But we can never actually know the answer to your equation, Professor. We can never know. But more than that, Krishna is telling us we have to be completely renounced from the results. So we cannot be affected, whether good or materially, whether it is good or it's bad. Now, this is actually very compassionate advice, because under illusion, you're dreaming that you'll become rich. And under illusion, I am dreaming I'll live at least to be 100. But the truth is, everyone, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the really intelligent person sees that the real problem is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. And this we cannot escape. So actually, to become renounced, we're dreaming that my child will never die. Well, those of us who've been here a little while, they would know that a few years ago, performed the Shraddha ceremony for one of my grandsons here at the temple. So we're thinking we're so intelligent, we're so powerful, we're so educated, but still, this baby boy could not be saved. He died at 10 weeks old. So we're calculating in terms of the body and dreaming that we will enjoy here forever. This is our real kingdom, and we'll be here forever. The reality is exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. My great-grandparents, we don't even know where they lived. We don't know. No one who knew them is alive. No one has any memory. Just like vanished from all existence. These material bodies, that is the actual situation. So right now you may be on the verge of a great discovery. Yes. But in another 100 years, maybe no one will even know your name. So that is our situation here, actually, within the material world. So to tell us to be renounced, Krishna is doing us a favor. Because this is the real problem. We cannot fix it. There's no material fix. People are dreaming. So people are dreaming that by organ harvesting, that rich people will be able to take organs from poor people. And in this way, they'll live forever. So this sort of demonic, when we read in Prabhupada's books about Rakshasas, when I first would read this, I think, it sounds exaggerated. But what I'm telling you is exactly what the richest people in the world are planning and doing. So that is but Prabhupada used to say that in spite of all advancement of science, all advancement of medicine, still the death rate is 100%. So this is Krishna's doing us a favor by telling us to give up attachment to the results. So you can calculate, but you have to be completely renounced, whether you'll be correct or not, whether you'll make the great discovery or not. Thank you. It's an excellent question. Any other questions? Yes.
This is the
Last question.
very simple. Today we discuss about prescribed duty. So I have a question to you. As a householder, two kind of duty we have to perform. One kind of duty take care our family, another kind of duty also take care of our spiritual life. So as a speaker, who is one you think superior duty and inferior duty.
That's a question I was gonna ask.
So, whatever we gain within the material world, that we will 100% lose. So in the Bible, Jesus says, lay not up your treasures where thieves can break in and steal them. So the actual meaning is time. Time is the greatest thief. So whatever we materially try to provide, time will take it away. But the spiritual benefit that we may somehow or another give to our children, to our grandchildren, that is eternal. Krishna says, Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapi asidharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That even a little advancement in spiritual life can protect one from the most dangerous situation, which is that when we leave this human form, we will fall down into the animal species of life. Our soul will migrate to the animal species of life. So by giving our family any kind of Krishna consciousness, giving them prasadam, seeing the deities, taking part in the kirtan, that is eternal benefit that they can never lose. They can never lose. So in the material world, I make a risky bet in a big business and I can lose everything. But in Krishna consciousness, if we make 1% advancement, even if we stop, even if we fall into Maya, when we begin Krishna consciousness again, we start at 2%. So that spiritual advancement is never lost. So this is the real benefit that we can give to others, within our family and also outside our family. So I want to thank everybody for your patience. And it's time for the Gaur Arti.